We're living in luxury. Our beavers have an exceptionally high well-being, eating fancy foods and having housing of their own. But a few problems are threatening to rear their ugly head. Mainly, that our water stockpile just isn't big enough. Our crops suffer during droughts, and without our water pumps constantly running, our beavers quickly drink all the water we store. In this episode, we solve our water woes by developing our dams. We refocus our existing dam on power generation and add a new, controllable dam at the end of the river to double our storage capacity. In the process, we'll improve our logistics and expand our storage to prepare for Timberborn's primary challenge, surviving a bad tide. Alright, we are back in Timberborn. And as I said during the intro, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to not destroy, but refocus this dam, because this is not storing enough water for these crops to stay alive. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this structure in place, and we're going to change it so that it will start to generate power with these wheels, and that will be its primary function and not actually holding back the water. There's a mosquito in here. So to refocus this on power generation, we need to know exactly how power is being generated here. We have this water wheel. Its power output is about 300 currently. It'll fluctuate a bit based off the water here. And that's all based off of the water flow, which is how much water is moving, or how fast the water is moving from up here to down here. We don't have a ton of control over flow, except in one specific way. We can take larger volumes of water like this, and we can shove it down and condense it into smaller areas than this, which is about 8 blocks wide right now. Doing that will up the speed of the water, but we do need to watch out for one thing, because taking all of this water that's currently coming and shutting all of these dams and making it only go through this 2x2 area and power this water wheel would cause this entire part of the dam to overflow. So the first thing we need to do is we need to come down here and we need to unlock levees. Those are 120 science points. We have more than enough. Because these are going to, unlike the dams which let water through, levees will completely block water up to the block height. So while our beavers continue doing what they're doing, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to demonstrate how we make sure that our area does not overflow. So up here we have our waterfall. It's the only water source in the entire map. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 water generation blocks up here. So that will determine how much water is actually being passed through here. And the general rule, you can sometimes get away with shoving water into smaller spaces, but the general rule when it comes to flow, we need half as many blocks that allow water to pour through as we have water sources here. So if I take our levee and I turn on dev mode, because I don't want to sit here and wait for this, is we will be able to see if we put 2 levees down and speed up time, nothing much is going to happen here. The water level is going to get just a little bit higher than it was on both sides, but it's not going to affect basically anything. However, if I put down a 3rd levee and build that, we will watch as the water flow, or the water height over here, starts to get higher. And it will just keep getting higher here until eventually it will crest over the top of those blocks and start flowing over them. Now, if we take this away and we instead put down some dams, even though these are partially, even though these dams are partially blocking the water flow, because there is some amount of water getting through, it won't overflow up here no matter if we go 30 times, 99 times. It cannot get through up here. Or it cannot flood up here because enough water is getting through. So, with all that in mind, we're going to go back down over here to our dam. And what we need to keep in mind is, what we want is the water to be flowing through the smallest space possible when it goes over this water wheel. But also we need at least 6 dams still intact and not replaced with levees. Now, what this means is that we're going to have 2 dams, and then we're going to replace this one here. Oops. We're going to replace this middle one here with a levee. We don't really need to worry about severing that path connection because they can get around here if they need to. It will make this water wheel worse for a second, but we are then going to repeat that pattern. So 2 dams, we're going to sever this path and destroy this dam, and then we are going to replace it with a levee. And then for our final one, we are going to just replace this end block with a levee. And then we are going to once again reestablish that path, even though they can't currently go over that. Now, as our beavers come out to build those dams, the other thing we do want to think about is we're restricting the flow of water so that the greatest amount of water is going through these dam sections instead of the levee sections. But once it gets past this dam section, what we will see is that this water will just spill out to the sides here, and it's not all going to be powering this water wheel. So we're actually going to, and we have plenty of logs currently, we're going to take the levees and we're going to extend them out over there. This will make sure that all of the water that passes through this dam is going to be solely used to power this water wheel here. Now, the one other thing that I do like to do with these is we see this water kind of pooling here and not going through either side correctly. So I do just like to shove another levee down. I don't know if that helps, but I feel like it does. Since we are doing okay on food, I'm actually going to open up another one of these lodges, so that will once again allow more baby beavers to be born. And as we can see here, mostly because all of our oak trees here have grown up, we're actually, well, we're only halfway technically, but we are starting to build up a lot more wood than we will be able to store here. And we're going to need a lot of wood for these upcoming projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to storage and large pile, and I'm going to create another large pile for logs. And then they will use that to store logs, obviously. Now we do have a couple other housekeeping things to take care of while this drought approaches. So we are, as I pointed out in the intro, not really producing enough water. This will mostly be solved just by adding another water pump. So we are going to put that right over here. I'm just going to make those get deleted, and then I'm going to establish another water pump right next to the old one and connect it via path. And then we will be able to obviously pump more water. With our water pump established and 6 baby beavers waiting in the wings, the other thing that I believe we will need, we've got 20 or we've got 20 unbaked potatoes and 104 baked potatoes over here. As we can see, part of an issue we're having with food here is that Sozil is going back and forth and back and forth. If we go over here to our grill, our productivity is 39%, and we have 0 logs in this grill. There's 0 logs in the small pile we built out here to help transport logs here so that they could use this grill, which means part of that is because we have logs over here in these large piles. But the other issue we're facing is that this Sozil is carrying grilled potatoes all the way between this grill and where we're storing grilled potatoes. And that is because we don't have any haulers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out some space over here. Now this is a fairly central location. It can serve both sides of this easily. So we're going to go down here to housing, and we're going to go to hauling post, which is 20 logs and 10 planks, which we have more than enough of, and we're going to just stick that right there. We're going to make it high priority. And they're going to come over here. They're going to get that built. 5 workers went in there. Holy crap. I do, however, since I've put that on lower priority, which means that beavers will now work somewhere else before they work at the hauling post. Just because this does have 10 open spots, and if anything happens, we want beavers to fill open spot or other jobs before they fill hauling post jobs, because the hauling post is nice to have, but it does not keep our beavers alive. Speaking of keeping our beavers alive, we need to open this grill because we now have spatter dock. Not very many, but we do have some. So those haulers will not only bring logs out to these grills over here, they will also move resources between, say, the lumberjack hut and these piles. They'll move grilled potatoes from over here over to these ones. They'll basically move... They will move any resource from a building that is not meant to store it to a building that is meant to store it, or from a storage area to a building that needs the item. There is only 3 of them, so I mean, everything's not going to be everywhere all at once, but it will allow, for example, this grill has gone up to 89% productivity just from having 3 haulers, because this beaver is now not wasting all their time gathering logs and also taking grilled potatoes and putting them in the storage. So as we can see, this drought is 0.5 days away from being over, and this is almost all gone. Part of that is because we need to keep this water pump on, or else our beavers will all get dehydrated. And as we can see up here, there is no water. It all just ran out in the middle of me explaining this. There could not have been better timing on that. We simply do not have enough water being stored here. It's 150. If we go down to storage and we go to our tanks, which store water, a small tank holds 30. A medium tank holds 300. However, this takes not only planks, which we do have, but it takes gears. Now, much like planks, gears take power. And that's why we are not only retrofitting our dam over here with 1 water wheel, but we are going to continue building these levees out. And we're going to use this to power both the lumber mill and the gear workshop that we're going to build over here. So I'm going to actually prep this site for that and get rid of some of these berries. And then I am going to build 2 more power... Those are the walking wheels, 2 more water wheels. and I am going to take straight power shafts, and importantly, these are directional. If we were building these power shafts, they're not directional, but they take more logs. So we're going to build the straight power shafts because we don't need the power to go anywhere else. And if we press R, we can rotate it. If it's green, that means that it is getting power and giving power to every block that is adjacent to it that it can connect to. So we're just going to slap those down there, and that'll transfer the power over to this area once we need it there. And the other thing, as part of this, so we have this lumber mill which is making planks, and we have one small pile storing planks, but as we can see, our little lumber worker over here is not actually doing anything currently. And that is mostly because we don't have anywhere to store planks. And we are going to need lots of them. We're going to be building floodgates later. We're going to need at least 6 floodgates, so that's 30 planks. That is along with using planks for our gear workshop over here. So we're going to build more storage for planks. Now we could just slap down a large pile right here and make it store planks and call it a day. However, that will very quickly cause us to eat into our lumber, which we also need a ton of for what we are trying to do. So what I am going to do here, I'm going to build 2 more small piles. This might seem counterintuitive because of our water woes over here, but I think that it is a smarter move because it will allow us ultimately to control for now the amount of planks that we are generating and not over generating planks and consuming too many logs. We will just wait as they get going with that, and I guess watch the new multi-step animations for building here. Okay, and as we can see, our dam is now fully built. It is generating over 800 horsepower. And our lumber mill beaver over here has started filling up these small piles. We are going to sever this path momentarily. We are going to take 100 science, 15 logs, 15 planks. We got more than enough of both of those. We're going to put down this gear workshop. And then we are going to... I'm not really worried about planks getting over here because that's such a short distance. But we are going to build a small warehouse and set that for gears. Now this is the first building material that we have that requires a warehouse. We could put that over here near where we have all our food stored, and honestly, that is what we are going to do. But I don't feel good about it. So we're going to make this store gears as well. I do like these new multi-stage buildings with the new update. It is a cool addition. But I do just want to point out that up here, building that hauling post, even though this has low productivity because we needed another place to store grilled potatoes, increasing the productivity through the hauling post that only has 3 beavers in it has nearly tripled our food stored. And because of that, I'm very tempted to open up this 4th lodge, but I want to get the water solved first. And lucky us, our our gear workshop is now operating. So that means that we will soon have many more gears than we currently have. And actually, I'm realizing I built this, but I don't actually want it used for gears currently. I will actually switch this to grilled spatter dock. I've realized that that is going to cause the same issue that having having a large pile for planks would cause, which is that they will take all these gears and they will try to fill this up with gears. Essentially, our whole reason for doing this wouldn't matter because they would just continue to make gears until that was full. We will eventually want that. For now, we don't have the wood production to necessitate it or to really want that. While we are waiting for the gears, there is one thing that we can address, though. If we look up here at food, you'll see hovering over them, grilled spatter dock fulfills hunger and grilled spatter dock, so that's what's adding to this well-being. We've got grilled potatoes, we've got carrots, but if we mouse over berries, they only fulfill the need basic hunger. So we don't need all these berries anymore. We could keep them just because they are an easy food source, but we kind of have food down on lock currently. So I am going to go to delete resources, mark resources for demolition, and I'm just going to mouse over all of these resources and not that one. That I will actually keep for now. So our builders will go through and they will delete every single resource over here, which will mean that it will become farmland that we can once again produce things on. Eventually I'll put some more sunflowers over here. I don't necessarily need more carrots. And the sunflower seeds seem to go pretty quickly. And we have passed it. We now have 20 gears and 40 planks, which means we have more than enough to come down here to storage. It's only 120 science points, so we will unlock the medium tank, and we'll just build that right here next to our other tanks. We'll remember to set that to water. And then everyone will go to sleep for the night. And this will help solve, if we look at our water pumps, they're actually only at 35% productivity, and that's because these are being filled so quick. And I'm going to do something that might be a little insane here. I'm going to set these to empty. That'll cause the haulers to take the water that is in here and put it into this storage tank. And then once they do that, I'm going to destroy these and I guess wait a second for us to have enough of the gears and planks, but I will build a second. Once all that's gone, I will demolish these buildings, and then I will go back down here to storage and a medium tank and put down another medium water tank. So we have gone from having we will have gone to having almost 4 times as much water storage as we had before. 150 to 600. And I say nearly, that is exact. So we're almost full on logs. I'm just going to build another log storage just in case. I don't think it has so far actually impacted our lumberjacks, but again, we will need to store logs. That is just a reality of this game. We obviously can't make a large underground pile at the moment, so we will just do what we can. And since we have all this new water storage, and that one's, well, this is water storage. This one appears to be storing some sort of void. We will open up our 4th lodge because we have more than enough food. We will have more than enough water. Have more than enough food, more than enough water. We will easily be able to support our beavers, except for the fact that there is another drought approaching. So, I'm going to turn us down to 1 speed and hope that this is enough time to get this built. I'm going to build a path over here. As we know from before, and as we know from this, we need to leave at least 6 blocks in which water can go through. So we will take levees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. That's all the levees we need. And then we are going to unlock floodgates. So these take logs and they take planks. We currently do not have enough planks. Hopefully that will be an issue that's rectified because we're going to unlock floodgates. Then we will just take these and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. It just needs to spill over in that area. And then our builders will swim through the water. And they will come over here. And they will start to build away. And I gotta be honest, I'm not optimistic about this. Yeah, they are absolutely not going to finish that. Well, darn. I can have them work through the night. Let's do that. Let's turn our working hours up to 20. On the off chance, and they won't, but on the off chance that they can finish this. They've come so close. Well, it doesn't do anything, does it? Not in this instance. And unfortunately, our dam here was not finished, so we will once again... Oh, that got so low over there. We will once again have a bunch of our potatoes die, and a bunch of sunflowers. But the good news is, I guess, that they will finish this half a day after the flood, or after the drought ends. Now, luckily, even with this dam not being finished, it actually does not affect us as much as it would have before, because we do have these 2 new medium water storages. Which means that while our crops will die, we actually don't need these 2 water pumps to be running to survive. I am going to build another log storage. This may seem like a lot, but it won't seem like a lot very shortly. Well, it won't seem like a lot in the next episode. So with that, cycle 5 begins. And there is one more little tidbit that we need to know here. So if I keep these floodgates at 1, it'll just flood back and obviously nothing will get over. I can technically set these to 9 or 0.95. And as we will watch here, there might be a bit of flooding. Well, it's got to settle. But overall, our water is getting through. We don't want it to be flooding at all. And having it that high is going to cause it to go back over these the wrong way. And it is going to cause nothing but problems for these water wheels. So we will set these to 0.5, which surprisingly is the same as what dams have, and it doesn't affect the flow. I was kind of surprised by that when I learned that, but it is apparently how it works. And then once cycle 5 ends and the next drought begins, we'll set these up, obviously, and store a lot more water here. But with that, we have completed our end of river dam. We have converted our midway dam into a power station. We have expanded our water storage, even if there's not very much in this one right now. We have accidentally flooded this area and caused there to be a lot more arable land underneath our storage. We have survived 2 more cycles, leading us ever closer to the bad tide. But with that, I am sorry to say that our time today is drawing to a close. We have learned the basics of hydrology in Timberborn, how water flows, how much you can stop before it starts flooding, how controllable floodgates work. We have set ourselves up to where we could survive any drought. But somehow, I think something even darker is coming. But anyway, that's all a problem to solve for next time when we tackle what will be our first mega structure. So if you want to see that, then please do remember to subscribe, because I keep making these. So if you want to keep seeing them, that's the only way that you can be sure you'll see them. If you enjoyed this video, please like or comment. I don't know how the algorithm works, but that's what they say. And with that, and with this lovely little vista, I hope that's the right word, tableau, whatever, I bid you goodbye.